Hey, we're the Spencers.
And we're back at it with the Naked and Unashamed podcast. All things intimacy, all things marriage. Listen, if you are married or seriously dating, this is the podcast for you. And we recognize, babe, that there are in marriages and relationships, I got my way of doing things,
And I have my way of doing things.
but yet we got to figure out how to do this thing together.
Yes, we do.
You've got to come up with some healthy ways to compromise. So tonight is all about getting y'all on the same page. And we want to give you 5 ways to build a healthy compromise in marriage. Meet me in the middle.
In the middle.
In the middle. Where you
It
at?
like it's a
In the
song.
middle.
Okay.
Money in the middle. Where's she at? In the middle.
Okay.
That one.
That's all.
We got a song for everything. Listen, tonight we are excited that you are here and you're in the right place at the right time if you're a married person or seriously dating. So come on in and get ready because we're going to have some fun tonight.
We made it through the test. Strength and need, love and sex.
Boss, the plane!
Where's it gonna land?
Fantasy Island, what's your fantasy? What happens on the island?
Stays on the island.
Hey everybody, it's that time of year again. It's time for the Naked and Unashamed International Marriage Retreat, June 5th through the 9th, 2025. And this year, babe, we're going to Nassau, Bahamas. We've got our own private island. The Royal Bahamian Island is couples only, all inclusive, some of the bluest water you've ever seen in your life, and every fantasy you've ever wanted to fulfill within the boundaries of a holy marriage is about to take place on this island.
It is June the 5th through the 9th, 2025. And to hold your spot, go to our website, nakedandunashamedSLS.com. We're going to have beach games. We're going to have vow renewal. We're going to have time to relax as a couple. It's just not going to be just all workshops. So make sure that you sign up today.
It's going to be amazing. We're going to teach you how to be creative, how to communicate about the desired future you have as a couple, and how to overcome any kind of shame from your past that prevents you from having a vibrant, wonderful marriage. I cannot wait to take you to the island. Boss, the plane!
It's landing. I see it.
We'll see you there. Where? Fantasy Island.
Okay, we are talking about 5 ways to build a healthy compromise, in a marriage. There are times when, my husband has his way of doing things. I have my way of doing things. But how we make this work is that we have to come up with compromises on almost everything. Because we both were raised differently. So we brought different things into the marriage. But one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is our intimacy. You building that intimacy together. You have one way that you think things should go, and I have another way of things, how they really should go. Now, how we think things should go. But we want to make sure that when we're building that intimacy together, that we keep that open communication. There's really not any intimacy without communication. So you have to really talk about, hey, it's been 3 days or it's been 2 days, or one spouse wants it more than the other spouse. And so you have to come up with ways that it's going to be beneficial for both parties. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I want to ask you this. Do you think that that's a real thing in marriage, that one spouse wants it more than the other?
I agree. I really do think that most marriages, it may be a very small percentage, that there is one spouse who desires sexy time more than the other spouse.
Sexy time. Yeah, and it's nothing wrong with either one of you. I want to say that we have to get to this place where there's no judgment.
Right.
Just because a person may want it more doesn't make them a nymphomaniac. Just because a person wants it less doesn't make them square or vanilla. It's just that you got to find a rhythm that works for the both of you.
Right.
And we've been able to compromise through healthy communication. My wife has told me, she's like, look, I love you and I love being with you. I just don't require it as much as you do. And I said, well, I appreciate that. But I do. I like it a lot. And so we have been able to meet a healthy compromise, and we've got a wonderful rhythm that works for the both of us.
Right.
And I've grown to the point through communication that I don't feel like I have to have it 7 days a week. And yet I feel completely satisfied because we found ways to be intimate that's not just physical, it's emotional. We've learned through breath work. We've learned how to be erotically conscious. We've learned how to touch. We've learned how to cuddle. We've learned how to make love deposits so that both of us get what we need out of marriage. And so I think those free conversations where we have been on the road and we've driven and talked about what are things we want, what are things that we thought about, what are things we fantasize about, what are things that would make our love making better. So all of that comes about through communication. So what do you think, how would you define our compromise as it relates to intimacy? If you had to give it a recipe or give it a formula, what kind of compromise have we reached?
I think what the compromise that we've reached is we're like, what makes us feel, the individual person feel loved and connected? So what makes me feel loved and connected to you, and what makes you feel loved and connected to me, helps us to come up with those, those honest, judgment-free, flowing conversations so that we can easily communicate our needs, our desires, and our wants, and even our fears.
I like what you just said, because what I've discovered with you is that if I'm able to consistently make deposits into your love bank account with the things that you need, there's a natural response from you in giving me what I need. I don't even have to ask for it sometimes because you see the intentionality behind my actions as it relates to you, and it warms your heart. It's almost like our love relationship with God. When you really love God like you're supposed to, they're no longer commandments.
Okay.
You want to please God because what? You know God loves you and you love God. It's the same thing with your spouse. When you really authentically love your spouse, it becomes organic. The love that you desire, it becomes an overflow out of what you do intentionally for the other.
And it becomes almost like this is a gift that I want to give to you. Not something that's on the to-do list, like, oh, let me go on here because, it's on my to-do list and I'm checking stuff off. It's like I'm giving you an extra gift.
And fellas, we know when we're getting a gift and when we're getting that duty sex, D-U-T-Y, dutiful. I'm doing this because I have to, versus she's coming there like, come here, boy. And you're like, yeah, bring it. So it has to be some consistency, some good communication, non-judgmental conversations. All of that is necessary if you're going to get the love you want. What's the second area of compromise?
The second area of compromise, of course, we're in the holiday season. We just came out of Thanksgiving. We're getting ready to go into, Christmas and celebrating the new year. So we have to learn to balance, those traditions. If you have small children, or even if your children are grown, knowing that, okay, if my children are grown, then they may want to go with their spouse or with their extended family as opposed to everyone coming back to, home base. But learning how to balance, those traditions.
That's such a good point. As we grow older, traditions tend to change. We've witnessed that. We had 60 people in our home for Thanksgiving maybe 3 years ago. And now that all of our kids are grown, they are all over the place. Some in California, some in Arizona, some in Hawaii, some in Johnson City, some in Nashville. And we felt a certain kind of way at first, but we're like, you know what? It's okay.
It's okay. And you have to be flexible. And what I did was I expressed, I'm like, I'm sad that y'all not here. I'm sad, but we're all coming back together for, another holiday. But I just had to let them know that, I was kind of grieving them not still being children,
I'm laughing because that TikTok I showed the other day where the woman was like, it's okay when you call your daughter up and she says, Mom, I'm not coming home for the holidays. And then you hear this, and somebody's struggling in the trunk, and she pops the trunk, and it's her college student tied up in the trunk with a tape over her mouth where she's gone to college and made her daughter come back home.
She kidnapped her.
She kidnapped her own daughter. You cannot make folk come and acquiesce to your traditions. You got to make new traditions. And so balancing traditions, a healthy compromise is like, okay, we'll come to y'all.
Right.
Or we'll do something else together later on. You got to have some flexibility. Even steel bends. If it doesn't, it breaks. So you got to have some flexibility. Number 3, aligning your financial goals, meeting in the middle. In every marriage, there's a saver and there's a spender, right? And so in marriage, if you're not careful, some of those financial difficulties can lead you to a fraction in your marriage to where it turns into a great chasm. But when you're clear on your communication around your budget, your spending plan, if there's a saver and a spender, y'all got to identify who's going to be the one who takes care of the bills. If you have a financial goal of getting out of debt, y'all both have to agree upon that spending plan so you can get there together.
And sometimes there may be in a relationship where there may be 2 spenders or 2 savers. So you still have to find that balance on if there are 2 spenders, then hey, we got to stick with this budget. We can't really go outside the budget, but having those monthly budget meetings so that you're not spending your way into, living in a cardboard box.
And here's one that I'm excited about. This next one, number 4, is making sure you plan the perfect getaway together. Now, when it comes to Rhonda and I traveling, we both love to travel, don't we?
We do.
We both love to travel. But here's a sticking point for us. She's a nerd. And she likes going
I'm like, I'm a nerd.
to Stonehenge Museum. Tell me I'm lying.
You're not lying. It's education. You don't want to go to these countries and not see the land.
But what I do love about you is that you're also a daredevil at times, not as much as you used to.
I'm getting older.
You're getting older, but she's also a daredevil. So we have to mix adventure and educational learning together. When we went to Dubai not long ago, it was a good blend of going to museums and going swimming and going to the mall.
And that's one thing I love about you is that now that you see the value in knowing the country that you're visiting, that you have a greater appreciation of seeing things through my eyes. And then that makes me want to do more for you.
Yeah, I like when she wants to do more for me. Yes, Lord. Thank you. We had, like I said, going back to Dubai, we had a wonderful time. We went to museums. We learned a lot about, the economy. We did the whole desert photo shoot with your dress. And then we got back to the room. You blessed me. Oh, she blessed me in the bathroom, everywhere I went. Okay, I'm sorry. Quit pinching me. Ouch. And so, so you got to be able to plan the perfect. And speaking of a getaway, we've got a perfect getaway coming up when?
June the 5th through the 9th, 2025.
Don't y'all want to come hang out with us on a private island with the blue waters, with the beaches? You got an ocean view room, no kids, couples only in Nassau, Bahamas.
Yes.
Y'all, we took 60 couples to Jamaica, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to Nassau next year, and we still have a spot for you. And you can set up a payment plan. Y'all can come together and say, babe, we need to go somewhere.
Because it's important not just to have your bucket list, but you need to travel every year together as a couple. Because when you go away as a couple, that just frees you up just to be adventurous, to be spontaneous, to play, to learn, to have fun.
How do they come and join us on this trip, though?
What we need you to do is go to our website, www.nakedandunashamedSLS.com, and click on the International Retreat tab, and you'll see all about our retreat.
And I think they still have some ocean view rooms left. Now, them ocean view rooms, it's everything, right? When we're having breakfast in the morning and we're listening to the ocean.
Oh, definitely.
Or at night.
At night, just
making love with the moon.
hearing the waves.
The waves,
yes.
the moon shining down on the water as we make love under the stars. Come on, you got to go with us. Last thing we want to talk about and how you meet each other halfway is growing spiritually together. You know, the Bible always talks about how can two walk together unless they agree. And then the Bible also talks about being unequally yoked. And one of the things we've got to learn how to do together is to make sure our faith is in alignment.
Definitely.
Because when a car is out of alignment, it pulls to one side, right? And you wear out both of your tires because you're out of alignment. But when your marriage is in spiritual alignment, guess what? So is your eroticism. So is your financial system. When you get your spiritual wheels in alignment, and you both are praying together, that's where the intimacy and everything else falls into place. It's also been proven, babe, that couples who pray together experience more intimacy than people who don't pray together. So every night when we get ready to go to bed, my wife and I will pray together before we go to sleep. And then before we get out of bed, we will pray together before we get out of the bed. Then you think that makes a difference in our relationship?
It not only makes a difference, it helps to set the pace in our marriage. Like when disagreements come up, because disagreements will come up, if God is not in me and God is not in him, then we're not going to make it. But it's hard when the two of you that are grounded in faith have a disagreement where you can't come to a healthy compromise.
And then, let me say this to the men. You are the priest of your house. So many times, especially in the black church, some men have a problem with the way the woman has reverence for the pastor. You have an opportunity to be the priest of your house. You have the opportunity for your wife to show adoration and reverence for you as the spiritual leader of your house if you put yourself in that position. You ought to be the first one to pray for your wife and your children. You ought to be the first one to get everybody up for church on Sunday and say, all right, y'all, it's time to go and worship. Don't send your wife away to church while you stay at home. You are the spiritual leader. You set the pace for your family. And so you become the pastor of your house. But you got to get up. And ladies, you've got to continue to be a praying wife. How important is it for women to pray for their husbands?
Yeah, if y'all living in America, y'all know it's so important for us to pray for our men. They're inundated with so many things outside of the four walls of your home. So you got to put that shield of prayer around them when they go into the workplace, so that they are protected against everything that's out. And, we can't determine what is going to happen outside of our four walls, but we can give our husbands that extra shield of protection, and that is our prayer.
Yeah, when that faith foundation is strong, your love foundation is strong. And I would dare say this, that sex is better when you're spiritually connected. It's a spiritual experience. I think there is an intersectionality between your spirituality and your sexuality. As a matter of fact, sex is a spiritual practice because when the two become one, you share essence, you share spirit, you become one. It is a merging of spirits and souls when we make love to each other. So it's not something to be entered into lightly. This is something that bonds you. And so prayer and worshiping. And I would even say serving together. Find you a Bible-believing church where both of y'all can come and worship together, because a family that prays together stays together. You hear me? So we talked about 5 ways tonight on how you can reach a healthy compromise. We're going to give you a recap. Number 1,
we are building our intimacy together. We want to make sure that we have that open and honest communication, where that you're having judgment-free conversations, where you're discussing your desires, your wants, and even your fears.
Number 2, you're balancing traditions as relates to how you celebrate the holidays, how you do things. How you did it in your family of origins, it may not be how you do it going forward. Number 3.
Number 3 is aligning your financial goals. In most marriages, there's always a spender and a saver. Having those monthly budget meetings, setting a goal. If we're trying to get out of debt, making sure that we're sticking to those budgets, but making sure that we align the same goal.
Number 4, you got to plan those getaways. I'm telling you, once a quarter, y'all need to get away, even if it's just for the weekend. But once a year, you need a big getaway to reinvest in your marriage, and we've got one of those for you. It is the Naked and Unashamed International Marriage Retreat, where we're going to teach you how to utilize fantasy to restore fire back into your intimacy. And you can still register at nakedandunashamedSLS.com. And number 5.
Number 5 is to continue to grow spiritually together. Make sure that you're both equally yoked, that you are, you have some joint biblical practices like praying together in the morning, praying together at night, and even worshiping and working together in the house of the Lord.
Amen. So it's possible. You may be different, but you can bring those differences together through communication and meeting each other in the middle, so that you can make your marriage everything that it was meant to be. How can 2 walk together unless they are in agreement? And the only way to get in agreement is to come together non-judgmentally and have some open-hearted conversations on how you make a healthy compromise for what you both want. We hope that this has been a blessing for you. Listen, if you like tonight, would you please do us a favor? Leave a comment, subscribe, and share with 3 couple friends. That's right. Go to the little link where it says share, and you can send a text message with the link of this podcast and share it with 3 couple friends. Say, girl, bruh, you need to sign up for their podcast. It is life-changing. Listen, if you also want to be a partner, you want to be a part of our inner circle, babe, tell them how to become a part of our circle.
If you want to be a part of our inner circle, where we have coaching and counseling, we do meetups, we have fun together, because it's a group of married couples striving to stay married. Go to theedencircle.com and learn more about it.
All right. Listen, we love you guys. You still have time to sign up for our international retreat. Spots are filling up fast, but we're saving a spot for you. You got to get it today, though. Go to
nakedandunashamedSLS.com.
Right there. Put it on the bottom of the screen. You see it? We want you to come be a part. Have we told you, ladies, that we love you? We love you. We're pulling for your marriage. We believe y'all can make it. And we believe that God wants you to be naked and without shame. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Be blessed.